boys and girls. My name's Vachris, and this is my dog Teddy. And me and Teddy hope that your family is safe, healthy, and happy. To keep you busy, I'm going to read you a book called Game Day by Tiki and Rondé Barber. I loved this book growing up, and I also love these authors. These authors both played for the NFL. Tiki Barber played for the New York Giants and was a really good running back. Rondé Barber was a cornerback for the Buccaneers, and they're both very good. And fun fact, I actually met the author of Tiki, so I got his autograph. So, without further ado, Game Day. You ready, Teddy? All right. It was the play Coach Mike liked to call all bread and butter. Tiki and Rondé knew it by heart. It went like this. The quarterback took the snap and looked left at both ends, broke to the left. Then with a quick spin, the quarterback pitched the ball back to Tiki, who followed his brother to the opposite side. From there, if everything clicked, it would be off to the races. And this time, everything did click. The defense end ran toward the quarterback, staying behind Rondé. Tiki sprinted into the clear. The goal line was 60 yards away. At the 20-yard line, two defensive backs closed in on Tiki. Rondé, leading the way, dove at the knees of the first defender and bounced into the second, as all three of the players went down. Tiki leaped high and kept on going. Touchdown, Vikings! Tiki Barber, number 22, scores! The announcer called out. Rondé saw his whole team coverage on the end zone, and they sat up and made his way to the milling crowd. He was limping a little. The block he had thrown had somehow hurt his ankle. Tiki, Tiki! All the Vikings crowded around Tiki and cheered. Even some parents had come out into the field. Rondé saw his mother looking at Tiki and waving. He wondered, if I hadn't made that block, Tiki wouldn't have scored. Did anyone notice that? Coach Mike came up beside Rondé and patted him on the shoulder. Nice game, the coach said. Then he added, that twin brother's of yours. He's amazing. That's his seventh long touchdown run this season. Yeah, Rondé set his head down. You okay? Coach said, yeah, I'm okay. Rondé said with a quiet voice. He didn't feel like talking to anyone as he hobbled down across the field. I love these illustrations. It was Tuesday afternoon, and the twins were in their room doing homework. Rondé suddenly looked up from his book and said, guess how long it took Lewis and Clark to go from the Mississippi River to the Pacific Ocean? Don't know, Tiki said. A couple weeks. A couple weeks? It almost took 2 years, Rondé grinned. That's what you know? Well, if you two guys row all day, it wasn't just two, Rondé answered. No way, he pointed at his book. It took almost 40 to get there. A whole bunch. Twins' mother popped her head into the room. Surprise, she whispered. Someone's here to talk to you. Here's pictures. And here's some football players back then. Reporter with the Roanoke newspaper was doing a feature story about the city's Pee Wee League. There was a photographer with him too. Are you Tiki? The reporter asked, looking down at Rondé. Rondé shook his head. He pointed at his twin brother. The reporter turned to Tiki and said, your coach tells me you already scored 7 long touchdowns in 4 games. What's your secret? Tiki, like Rondé, felt funny talking to adults. He pawed the floor with his one foot. Then in a low voice he said, I just keep on running. I do my best and the game happens around me. The reporter went on talking to Tiki. Those are some long runs, 60, 70 yards. Don't you get out of breath? Sometimes, Tiki smiled shyly, but I keep on running. The reporter turned to the photographer. Let's take his picture outside holding a football. They turned to go outside, while Rondé stayed behind. Then the boy's mother called out, how about taking both boys' pictures together? They're a team. Rondé is Tiki's best blocker. Sure, said the reporter. Great idea. Later, as the boys' mothers cooked dinner, Rondé mumbled in a soft voice to her, guys who block and stuff like that. No one notices. People just notice the guy who scores touchdowns. His mother was silent for a moment. Rondé went on, I'm fast too. At the tryouts this fall, I was as fast as Tiki. Why don't I carry the ball more? His mother seemed to be thinking. Then she popped a funny question. Who cooks dinner here? Ronnie looked up. Why is my mom talking about dinner now? You do, he answered. And if I were to stop, his mother asked. Ronnie made a face and thought, probably eating peanut butter all the time. But before he could say that, his mother jumped in and answered, I'll tell you, we'll all starve. And who carries out the garbage each night? Me and Tiki. Right on, Busta! And if you guys didn't, Ronde smiled. We'd have to walk around like this, his mother said as she pinched her nose. She laughed. It's a good thing we work together here, isn't it? Saturday arrived, but Ronde's ankle was still slightly swollen. He sat on the bench in his street clothes, next to Coach Mike. Can't I maybe play a little in the second half? He pleaded. No way, Jose, the coach said firmly. Besides, next week's game is a big one. Let's get you ready for that. Tiki trotted over to the bench, out of breath for pre-game warm-ups. Hey, Coach Mike said, laughing and pointing to Ronde. Let's win one for your brother here. The Vikings crowded around the coach and Ronde. Yeah, they yelled. Tiki and Ronde gave each other a high five. Tiki said, rest up. We really need you next week. Today I'm going to break a couple long ones for you, Ronde. Watch me. Yep, easier said than done. Again and again, Tiki cut through the line or dodged a slow-footed lineman, only to find himself trapped by 2 or 3 defensive backs who hemmed him in and drove him out of bounds. A few times, Ronde leaped to his feet and called out, Go, Tiki, go! But it didn't do any good. Cheering helps, Coach Mike said, but not as much as a few solid blocks. Then he added softly, he's missing his main man. Ronde looked over at his coach, wondering, is Coach Mike talking about me? The game was tied after 3 quarters. Finally, in the 4th quarter, the Vikings slowly ground their way to the winning touchdown. But where were Tiki's own gains? Not today. Not today. Hope Ronde comes back. He needs those blocks. Tiki needs those blocks. It was the following Wednesday, practice day before their game within the toughest team in the league, the Knights. Ronde felt like a colt who had been let out of the barn. He hopped up and down to test his ankle. He led the team in warm-up run around the track. He loved the breeze on his face and the feel of the cinder under his shoes. Coach Mike told Ronde and Tiki to take turns catching and returning punts. As Tiki watched from the bench, Ronde caught 10 high spiraling punts in a row without dropping one. And after each catch, he zigzagged and sprinted downfield for 20 yards and then came back. Then, when it was Tiki's turn, Ronde went to the sidelines. Paco, Ronde and Tiki's best friend, jogged over to where Ronde was sitting. Paco was heavier than the twins and slower. He played on the offensive line and was a solid blocker. Hey, yo, Ron. Hey, Pac. Paco sat down next to Ronde, breathing heavily. Hitting those blocker dummies is hard work, he said. Ronde looked at Paco. Pac, you ever get tired of just blocking for other guys? Sometimes, but I figure someone's gotta do it. And when I do it okay, it feels good. And when we win, it feels really good. Yeah, I wish I could run fast like you and Tiki, but I can't. So Ronde and Paco were quiet for a moment. Paco went up. My dad always says the funny thing. He says, you gotta play your best when the cards you are dealt. You know, like... A loud whistle interrupts their conversation. Practice was over, but Coach Mike was calling, Ronde, Tiki, over here for a few minutes. We got a new trick plan for Saturday, on the double. Ronde jumped to his feet. What was that all about? Later, he called at Paco as he ran off. You okay there, Teddy? You want to read a page, Teddy? All right, I'll read. Saturday was overcast. The wind swirled and died down and swirled again. The Knights were wearing shiny black uniforms. The gray sky seemed to make the players look even bigger. Ooh. Parents stood before the Vikings bench and filled the bleachers. Ronde looked over and spotted his mother. She smiled, gave him a thumbs up, and mouthed the words that she always plays. play proud. The Vikings gathered around Coach Mike, then jogged onto the field. The boys were hyped up for the start of the new game. I'll show you these pictures again. These illustrations are really well done, really well drawn. The game was expected to be close, and at halftime it was tied. Only once late in the third quarter did Tiki, behind a great block from his brother, break away for a long touchdown run. But the Knights' bigger size began to show. Slowly, yard by yard, they drove to a touchdown and the edge ahead. What now? The Vikings were on their way on their own 40-yard line. It was starting to drizzle, and the clock was running down. The Vikings' blue uniforms were smeared with dirt. Rondé sprinted to the sidelines, listening to the coach, and then he raced back. He ducked into the huddle and announced the play. Coach Mike says, he looked at Tiki. It's time for all bread and butter plus one. Jason, the quarterback, glanced up at him. Huh? He mumbled. What's plus one? Tiki broke in. Don't worry, it's the same old play, with something added. Let's do it, Patrick called as the team headed for the line of scrimmage. Jason took the snap. He faked a pass to the left and wheeled around. He shoveled the football back to Tiki, who veered outside the rushing end. Tiki threatened his way downfield, behind his brother, but three defense backs were closing in. Then something strange happened. Rondé seemed to miss his block and sideways past the defenders. The three tacklers, sure of themselves now, headed for Tiki. It seemed like it was all over. In a split second, Tiki leaped into the air and spun around. With all his strength, he lobbed a cross-field lateral pass to Rondé. The football wobbled and dipped, but Rondé, with a big stride, bent forward and snatched it cleanly just above his shoes. He tucked the football under his arm and was off. Rondé ran faster and faster with his eyes on the goalpost. The 30-yard line, the 20, the 10. Touchdown, Rondé Barber! The announcer called down in a loud voice. The Vikings win, 22-15. Woo-hoo! Yeah, woo! Yeah, Teddy! They won! Rondé stood in the end zone and looked back. The whole team was racing downfield toward him. Tiki was there first. Together, he and Rondé held the ball high in the air. The Vikings gathered around. Many hands reached in to touch the winning football. You did it, Tiki shouted at Rondé. The Rondé laughed. No, bro, you did it. Then he stopped. No, we both did it. Then he stopped something again. No, we did it. Hooray, Vikings! Woo! Thank you guys for being a great audience. I hope you liked the book because I really liked that book. All right, you want to say bye, Teddy? Bye!